This is TWiT.
And it seems like that's a great backdrop against which to discuss loot boxes and the fact that in Europe and here in the US, there have been efforts to regulate them and to characterize them as gambling. I know you've spoken on that and have some thoughts on how we can draw that line. Can you share those with us?
Sure. And again, I have to explain a bunch of stuff because it's a dark, it's a gray area. It's not black or white. So gambling and loot boxes are a form of what we call intermittent rewards with a variable ratio reinforcement schedule. It means that in behaviorism, like the Skinner box with the little rat, when the rat, had to press a lever to get a pellet of food, well, sometimes the rat would press the lever, would not get any food, and sometimes would press the lever, would get some food. So it would be variable. The rat did not know when it would get the food. When it's variable, we know that it's actually more engaging. This is where we see the highest and steadiest response rate. It means that we have a tendency to press the lever because maybe we're going to get the pellet and we don't know when it's going to happen. So it's something is more engaging, and this is the mechanic that we have in gambling. For example, you press the lever and you don't know, maybe you're going to have like 777 or whatever pattern. Like now there's a lot of different game designs in gambling. Maybe you're going to win a lot of money and maybe you're just going to lose everything or win a little bit. So it's the same principle. But it's the same principle if you play a game, whatever board game, and you have to throw dice, because it's a variable ratio reinforcement schedule. Sometimes you're going to have like a very small number. You make, like have 3, and sometimes you have double 6s. So it's also more engaging because when you have double 6s, you're like, yeah, make a good score. And so you feel super powerful. So this is very engaging and by itself, and it's not a bad thing by itself, because it's in many games you experience that. In a lot of games, we have what we call RNG, which is random number generator, which is, for example, if you kill an enemy in the game, sometimes you're going to have a loot from it. Sometimes it's something crappy or you don't have anything, and sometimes you have something super valuable for inside within the universe of the game. RNG is also a form of variable ratio reinforcement schedule. It's more exciting when you don't know. Sometimes you're going to hit an enemy. Of people who are playing a lot of D&D, we have that also in tabletop D&D. Sometimes you're going to make a very good score with your dice and you have a critical hit. So that's also the same sort of things. When we talk about gambling, it's a sort of a variable ratio reinforcement schedule, but it's tied to money. So you have to pay to participate, and what you can gain is valuable in real life, and it's usually about money. When we talk about gambling, it's you put money in and you can get money out. So in games, when you have loot boxes are chests or card packs that you can buy, and you open them, and sometimes you have some stuff that are not super interesting. Sometimes you have something super rare from within the environment of the game. So the big difference is, yes, you pay some money to get it, but it's a bit diluted because you don't pay directly with your credit card with cash, because you have the what we call the hard currency in the game. So you have a currency, like in Fortnite it would be the V-Bucks, and in a lot of games it would be coins or gems or whatever. This is what you use to buy loot boxes in a game. So it's diluted. You don't pay it directly, and usually you can gain this currency just by playing the game. So you don't necessarily have to pay real money to buy loot boxes. So that's one big difference. And the second big difference is, well, usually it's just valuable inside the game. You don't gain real life value out of it. Except that So like if we just take that example, it's not very different from trading cards that a lot of kids of my age or your generation played. It's the same principle. It's also a variable ratio reinforcement schedule. You buy a pack of cards, you don't know what you're going to get, and then you're going to trade the cards. So there's a few differences here. First of all, in a digital environment, you don't have all these barriers that you would have when a kid wants to buy trading cards. Back in the day, the kid would need like cash, and so would have to ask their parents, "Hey, can I buy the trading cards?" or use their own money. So it's actually harder to do that. And either you have your pocket money and you can spend it, but you know that this is all the pocket money that you have, so it's easier to see the value of it, or you have to ask your parents, and parents might not be agreeing, and blah, blah, blah. So you have a lot of steps that's actually helping kids dealing with their difficulty with self-control. It's the environment that is blocking them to actually buy it right away. In the case of games, if the credit card is already entered and you just have to click on a button to get a bunch of coins, and with these coins then you're going to be able to buy some loot boxes. It's harder, there's more distance between the real cash in the real world and the what you spend in the game. So it's harder to keep track of what you're doing, and it's more immediate. You can just do it with a click. So that's the first difference. And the second thing is that so some games have some how do you call that? A marketplace, whereby you can sell or trade the stuff that you gained in loot boxes. So this is when it's starting to, because you can sell the items that you got in the loot box, which you can pay with real money. So this can really be considered as gambling when you have that marketplace, when you can sell or trade these items that you gain in loot boxes. But that being said, at the end of the day, the real life value is all about perception. What if you value a lot a rare item that you got, and because it's part of a virtual world, which is meaningful to you because this is where your friends are, this is where you spend a lot of time, and so where's the line there? Where can we decide that is it real life value or not because it's virtual? So as long as, to me, as long as you can buy it with real money, even through the different steps, because you buy a hard currency, you don't buy it directly. To me, it could be considered as gambling, and it can be difficult because people, they're excited about the real value they can get out of it, and they have to most of the time pay money for it. And again, kids and teenagers, they're pretty bad at self-control. This is something that's developing maturing pretty late in the brain. So it's way harder for them than it is for us. And even for us, sometimes we gamble. If you go to Las Vegas, you're gonna sometimes go over your budget because you're just excited about it. But for kids, it's a bit harder to stop. So I would agree that whenever you have, again, a game that is rated T or E for everyone, loot boxes can be a problem because of the young population. So I hope that makes sense. It was a long explanation, but it is pretty precise. That's why I wanted to explain it precisely.
And I'm glad you did. I'm skeptical that lawmakers and regulators will have the patience to get into the weeds in that way. I hope that they do, because it's an important issue. Yes.
Science is important because everything is in the gray area. So if you want to have a regulation that's fair and just, you have to understand all these elements.
That's right. Someone in our IRC is pointing out a shift in Fortnite with the loot llamas, making them transparent so that you can see what you get before buying. Was that in response to these kinds of concerns?
I don't know. I was I was out of Epic back then, but I'm guessing they're, because again, when we create games, we don't necessarily realize what's going on, and we just want to make the best game, and we want to be sustainable economically as well. And we don't necessarily understand what it means and for a certain population. So they did that in the Save the World mode, where you can see what's in the llama before you buy it, and that's countering the impact of you don't know. It's not variable anymore, because now you can see what you're gonna get. Also, with Fortnite going more into season passes, this is more transparent, because you're gonna get whatever you're gonna get for that season, and you know when you're gonna buy. So it's not acting on that variable ratio reinforcement schedule. Right. It can play on the fear of missing out, but that's another problem. But it's way more transparent.